Hey cats, it's your midsole man, Eddbud here. I've been scouring around like a hungry squirrel looking for some running news articles for you. We got some strange new Nike designs, one of my running predictions has finally come true, and I've got a roundup of all the latest running shoe releases for you. Let's get straight into it, people. Thanks for joining me once again on the channel, always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications. Also give this video a thumbs up, like, and share it with your running buddies, it really helps out. Danke schön. Before we get into the main part of the video, I am running a poll at the moment as to what viewers want me to review next. I got a selection of shoes there, or you can choose like your own selection and just put it up in the comments and I'll record that as well. Stick it all into a big spreadsheet because that's what I like doing. But I like to try and do some reviews that viewers actually want to see rather than just picking up some shoe and people might be completely disinterested in it. What's the point in that, eh? It's just a waste of good earth credits. So please do vote, it helps me to pick a shoe that people want to see. Pulling together all those running related stories for you this week, let's get straight into it. Recently, Nike have been doing some very strange things. There's some really weird releases. No real storytelling to any of it either. They just kind of put things out and leave us to try and figure out what on earth's going on. Another bizarre Nike move here, taking customers back to the 90s perhaps with a shoe that looks like something out of a New Balance catalogue. So this is the Nike Run Tech, a brand new release from the brand. It's apparently a lifestyle shoe, though if it was released as a running shoe back in the day, I don't think anybody would bat an eyelid. But I mean, any shoe can be a running shoe, can't it? If you put it on and run, then is that a running shoe? Some shoes are of course optimized to be best for running, but it's very clear from recent models that brands simply place these shoes into a category and aren't really too bothered about what you actually use them for. The recent Infinity Run update, for example, loads of viewers mentioned that they buy the originals and use them as casual shoes, so there we go. Very big Vomero vibes here. I love the colourway, to be honest. I can hear the chant of pre. But wouldn't it be awesome if they did a VAPORFLY 3 colourway, like a Prefontaine Oregon sort of version? I think that's a much better move to commemorate such a significant individual like Pre. Why call it Run Tech though if this is a lifestyle shoe? Seems this is another classic Nike move here that they call other brands out from. It's very similar to some New Balance and Asics models that we've seen. I mean, that's what most of the kids out there are wearing at the moment, aside from Panda Dunks. I think Nike have sold so many actually of those black and white shoes now that they've got a big stockpile of them and can't get rid of them. You can almost hear the video call at the Nike HQ.
We need a shoe like the 990, something clunky, something dad-like. What can you come up with? You got till 5 o'clock.
There's certainly New Balance 9060 or 990 vibes here. It's a bit of a mashup if ever I saw one. Of course mixed in with the Vomero. I mean, I guess at one point this type of shoe would be serviceable like a Air Max 3 or a 90. It's something along those lines. I think it's another reason to remember that Nike really are a casual lifestyle brand these days. Yes, they do some running stuff, but that isn't the core business anymore. I just think the running shoe lineup's very, very lacking these days, aside from the VAPORFLY and the AlphaFly. Now, with story 2 here, I am speculating a little bit on a very early, apparently leaked shot of the Tempo Next Percent 2. Now, you never know these days, do you, with AI enemies around. It could be some AI image. Yeah, I went to watch Indiana Jones the other day and Harrison Ford was all young again. I mean, do they expect me to believe that? So, could this be a Nike Tempo Next Percent 2? Well, I mean, we got the presence of those air units in the forefoot of the shoe, though they do appear to be shoved backwards a little further away from the toe box. Now, there's no significant fanfare here to suggest they're using Zoom X or there's like React X in this shoe. People liked the fact that in the previous version of the shoe you had both foams. They were kind of doing two different things. It could be that one of the elements here is encased perhaps, so there's some sort of carrier foam around it. That could of course improve the durability of the shoe and also perhaps add some protection to those AirPods. That was often a bit of a bugbear with the Tempo Next Percent. Though it's hard to tell if this is a true departure from the previous model or just some other brand new model really. It bears almost no resemblance at all to the version 1 of the shoe. It's got more similarities in fact in the upper with the Zoomfly 3 or the Zoomfly 4. The same type of profiling there and shape to the shoe. Perhaps this is even an older prototype image. Many basketball shoes have been using those double air units of recent time, so I guess it is possible that this could be some type of GT basketball model, though it does seem Nike are thinning out that usage, with the only notable inclusion of recent time being the GT Cut 2, and that's purely made up of this big kind of Pebax frame around most of the actual foam in the air units. So, do you think this could be the Tempo Next Percent 2? Are you a bit disappointed that they've decided to sort of encase those air units and sort of keep them out of the way? Or perhaps could this be just a completely different shoe or another model? Do you think this is improving upon the failings that we had in the original version of the shoe? Personally, without any confirmation here about what this shoe is, I'm a little bit skeptical. I'm not going to put too much into this one just yet. Although, say, I'm a little bit disappointed that they haven't continued with the same sort of setup. People love that shoe and it continues to sell, so yeah, it might be one of those where I actually don't really want too much change to it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one down in the comments. So, story 3, at last, one of my running predictions has come true. Kipchoge has unveiled that he will be at the Berlin Marathon 2023. He's going to be indulging in some Wiener Schnitzel, maybe even a little currywurst as well. He does very much state though that this is a preliminary race for him and the sort of build up to the Olympics next year. This year represents 20 years since the anniversary where Kipchoge won his first sort of major award win at the 5,000 meters on that world scale. So I guess he's thinking about that there. He wants to almost commemorate that. Going back to Berlin, we know it's a fast and flat marathon. I don't think Kipchoge needs any major motivation though, really, like that. But I can imagine he wants to still try and push himself forward. If he does get another first place at this marathon, he will overtake Gabriel Selassie, be the most successful at Berlin ever. So I would imagine he does have his eyes on that prize. No confirmation on Kelvin Kiptum as yet, whether he will be appearing. All quiet on that front, though Kipchoge was very forthright actually with his comments about Kiptum, almost like he was perhaps a little bored to be hearing about him. Kipchoge suggested obviously he was the first to run under 2 hours, and if anybody else does it, he'll be second. Now, I do understand the quote there and where he's coming from, though let's remember that the Sub 2 event was a special event. It wasn't a race, it was more a challenge. As such, the Sub 2 hour in an actual marathon road event, that's still there, still to be achieved. Though in fairness, only 3 people have ever really come that close to that. You've still got to chop off a couple of minutes really to get there. So I think Berlin probably represents the best place to try and do it, depending on the weather conditions and such. I would be amazed, though, if Kiptum in the next couple of weeks doesn't unveil that he will be there at Berlin as well. It's been very quiet on his front recently. Very interesting. Don't hear too much about him, but I bet we will soon. Okay, I got a whole bunch of running shoe releases for you. Get ready. Nike have dropped another colorway of their VAPORFLY 3 shoe, this time in a racer blue, white, black and high voltage version. I guess this one's a little bit more refined than the old, fruit salad, chewy, sweet version. That orange and pink wasn't really for me, I have to be honest. At £235, it's the standard price, and it also appears to come in a standard box as well. There's none of these special VAPORFLY boxes anymore. Do you remember you used to get those bags as well? I really like those bags. They were good, you could store your prize shoe away from the dust. Not sure I need another one of these due to the upper fit really, but if you're after a pair and were hesitant to pick up the bright ones, here's something that at least might work. It's a little bit more muted, I suppose. There's a load of trail offerings set to drop over the next couple of weeks, including the SAUCONY ENDORPHIN Rift, which is a non-plated Power and PB, so this Pebax in the midsole shoe, with a more trail-like upper in comparison to the Nike Ultrafly. Some significant lugs there, underfoot too, and it's probably a more UK-friendly colourway as well in this one. The other notable trail shoe is the FUELCELL SC Trail. That again slaps more lug-heavy rubber onto a FUELCELL super soft midsole, along with a carbon plate as well. You have to have one of those now in your trail shoe too. At least it will protect you from the rocks, I suppose, to a certain degree. Not seen too many people talking about this FUELCELL model so far, but I don't think they're too far off release here in the UK. Okay, that's all the running news for the time being. If there's any interesting stories, let me know on the email in the description of this video. Let's hear your comments on the stories as well, people. I'm always happy to see. Musical interlude time for you. Found a really great album from the Hives that I'd completely missed. It's a live album recorded at the Third Man Studios over in Detroit. About 7 tracks on here, some of the best Hives material from the last sort of 20 years or so. Sounds like Jack White had invited them over to have a bit of a party, and they really went for it. Every single track's an absolute slammer. Like, they sound like they're having a total ball in this place. I think the actual studio where they record and they got this kind of live space there is not the biggest, but everybody that's in there is having a great time. My time is coming, and I hate to say I told you so, are the highlights here, although every track's good. The singer Howling Pete Arnquist sounds like he's on inspired form, really milking the crowd and bigging himself up and the rest of the band. Some of the guitar sounds here and the drums too are just pummeling. This one's worth checking out, live at Third Man Records, The Hives. Thanks for tuning in, people. I appreciate your support. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. It really does help to get us out to more runners. My name's Eddbud, and I'll be seeing you